The top and the bottom get smaller and smaller, and it really feels like any team could take on any team. So hopefully PPL are going to be here. They're going to show up and show us some energy here for the first series of the North American Strikers League Season 6. We're off on the pitch and looking at the Awakenings. We've got 4 prize fighters, which means we might have a bit of an explosive game on our hands.
That's right. We're going to have PPL on the left side. Of course, Hungry Like Nephew on the right. And what do you think about these team comps, Brickbat? I mean, just looking at this traditionally, I would definitely say PPL has more of like a core control comp compared to Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, absolutely agreed on that. Estelle, Rasmus, right? A tried and true, sort of the classic, kind of the modern day X-era composition, right? Something that you get to use a lot of hit stunts to get it through. But right now, it seems like the core control is going the way of Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, well, Juno Magnetized Souls definitely a problem in this midfield, and there's a huge KO immediately taken off the pitch here, and we see the pass up top, looking for the stuff with that Juliet. Not quite able to find that, trying to lock it down, but that core flip comes out, and that is a huge KO immediately.
Yeah, already 3 prize fighter stacks here. Vaughn looking good, an amazing first point on his goalie re-debut here in the North American Strikers League. And speaking of VODs in general, recently got a very big buff in the goalie position, now has that secondary up much more often for any sort of eject button plays, and Vaughn's already doing that, right? Has those 2 KOs, got a goal in the net, got a goal as well as a KO in the net, but right now he's going to be on the defensive.
Yeah, looking here, both barriers fall already for the side, looking for that stun on the Rasmus, not able to get it here. You see the clear out, just stuck in the top side, and you really have to be careful with this Juliet. It's so easy for you to get KO'd off that top side. The flip there blocked away. Once again, returning, keeping that core flip, almost finds the KO. The Finny ult coming out and will secure that goal. PPL evening out this game 1-1.
Yeah, this Finny midfield also kind of a pick that I think has been growing a bit in popularity over the previous patch. Very good on the offense, as you saw there. That grand finale, I believe is what it's called, can provide so much value in the offense, especially against a VODs who doesn't really have a million redirects at their disposal in order to get the core out of those situations. So if it actually does get to the point where Fiery and Average Alex are able to pressure Vaughn, I think the goal is going to open up very quickly.
Yes, and of course, as you mentioned, Vaughn, that's another thing this season. We do have a role swap coming out from You Already Lose and Vaughn. So we will see Vaughn in the net on this VODs. And do you think this will stick the whole season? I mean, I know the meta perhaps has changed a little bit and might make this maybe the perfect comp for this team and sort of roster swap almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, we still might see. I know that, Dubu infamously escaped a lot of the melee goalie nerfs. Mako, I think, is still in an all right position as well. But really, the start of momentum boots goalies or strike shot or range strike shot goalies specifically, I think, might also really shift up what composition teams are picking. Right, we're already seeing a lot of damage come out in this game here, and if that sort of thing continues, I think we're going to get a lot more explosive games, a lot more high KO, high intensity games, and that's going to be super fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. And here we see potentially the scariest map for goalies, I would say. Off the speakers, this core moves so quickly, just like that, as You Already Lose, able to find the top corner of the net off the speakers, and Maloom not in a great position on that Estelle goalie. Once those barriers are down, Estelle is such a difficult striker to play and keep things alive. And already, Hungry Like Nephew on set point during set number 1. But this has been a close game with these KOs. Bells does get that center buff, looking to win the strike war, and has the flip here just as that buff wears off, and Vaughn dealing a lot of damage with that ultimate there. Bells now trying to dribble, has to get it past Average Alex's abilities. He's been doing a great job holding down this midfield, but it's so difficult against the Juno.
It is, and this is, right, 6 prize fighter stacks versus 0. Fiery taking a lot of abuse right now here. Able to potentially get 1 goalie barrier, but no, the pressure is so high on Fiery right now, it's really hard for him to get any momentum going.
Yeah, and of course, with no starting Awakenings that do all that much, no size to start, it's going to be difficult for Fiery to find their footing here. trying to stuff it past Vaughn with a good time strike where there's the pendulum swing coming out. Will take the one, the flip immediately to try to get past, and sure enough, able to clear it out of that corner, keeping that second barrier. A great defense from Hug here. Just trying to get it past.
Yeah, corner offense, though, a little bit scary whenever you have a 3 prize fighter Juliet. Any dash punch, especially at this range, can be lethal. But hopefully Fiery will be able to get to play. He has notably as well going pummelers here, wants to play aggressive, potentially get some hook kills while that corner offense is happening. But an open net finally here for Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, finding that corner, and now one pendulum swing between tying up the set, and a beautiful punch there from Bells, and the dash into the top of the net as the gates open up. Bells closing out the first set in a beautiful shot.
That came out of nowhere, and Vice getting the MVP here. There's potentially a lot to look at. I'm looking at this heavy impacts, right? Even though his recently nerfed cooldown, still incredibly strong, I think, across the board. Spark of strength as well for the scaling nugget. Opt into the heavy impacts, and that means that this damage coming out from Hungry Like Nephew is going to possibly go to the next level, right? Not only do you have just the sheer amount of power that comes from Prize Fighter, you're also going to get the cooldown to prevent the stagger regeneration. On top of that, right, the specialized training from Julie just to make the kill confirms even that more deadly. Really feels like Hungry Like Nephew are starting to ramp up their win condition, and PPL are going to have to fight for their lives in this upcoming set.
Absolutely. You know, that Hungry Like Nephew team, not what you want to see have power. I mean, we've seen all throughout the season, S.A.D.B.O.I.S will just deal damage and kill you. And that's basically what's going to happen here again, unless PPL is able to just stuff this core through, which is going to be difficult because Urdilu is doing a great job on the Juno locking down this midfield. And we see a KO immediately, 30 seconds into this match. And now Average Alex and Maloom have to hold this down for 5 more seconds. We'll have to see Vaughn getting aggressive at the midfield. Not able to find the stun onto Maloom, though, or at least cause that barrier to fall. PPL has both of these barriers. The corner defense is looking strong. Vaughn with a nice clear, forced to burn the ult out. And just look at how many utilities are coming out in the midfield. So much damage that you do not want to stand on.
Yeah, and we saw earlier, right, one prize fighter stack going the way of Bells in a way that felt calculated. I mean, look at Fiery, no evade, every cooldown under the sun going his way. Has to just spend most of his game plan just running away from things. And when you do that, you're not able to get the positioning that you want as Rasmus to get past this Vice. So despite playing a more offensive playstyle, Vaughn hasn't really felt pressure too much, to be honest.
No, definitely not. And Vaughn in a comfortable spot there. Opting to kill, will lose the barrier for it and might be punished if Bells and Urdilu aren't able to take this barrier. But here comes the offense. Average Alex on low HP now. Next in line, and the core just missing the barrier will finally find its mark. Bells has the flip, finds the bottom corner. The strike shot is not quick enough. And Hungry Like Nephew scores another goal with 2 prize fighter stacks, both on Vaughn and Bells.
Right, 2 prize fighter stacks to look at from both, right? Obviously the damage ramping up, and I'm just not too sure what PPL can do at this point, right? Low on stagger, low on evade, and unless they get some very quick points, potentially with some help from Loom, again, we're going to see this situation where Fiery's just going to be targeted and knocked out of the play, and that's the playmaker for PPL. That's kind of the guy that is expected to do some of the heavy lifting here on scoring, and if that guy's never able to score, then what's your game plan?
That's right. I mean, having a core control comp, this is the issue with it. If you kill everyone that can control the core, what can you do? And this is what we're seeing. We see Bells there almost getting caught out with a little bit of knockback, but still Fiery 2 levels below the rest of the lobby just because of how much damage is being dumped on them.
It notably is something that PPL has historically, struggled with. If Fiery gets focused, right, he is a player that, can die. And, well, I mean, we're seeing it right there, right? Fiery going to be taken out, and just the power play for Hungry Like Nephew.
You see it coming out. There's so many Juno blobs on the pitch right now. That Timeless Creator is not helping out. And Juno just hiding in that, waiting for it, and Bells finds the dash punch yet again, this time with the stun to make sure Maloom cannot do anything about it. in this set, already going 2-0. Not the position you want to be in if you're PPL.
Yeah, again, right, fully stacked prize fighter. You already lose also a Spark of Strength, so not non-zero damage coming out from the Juno here. And if that keeps up, just, again, no evade here on average. Alex, I'm not quite sure what you could do here if you're PPL.
You need more energy, and I don't know how you're going to get it because you are constantly pressing evade. I mean, Fiery looking to stuff Vaughn, right? That's what you have to do if you're playing this Rasmus. You have to try to win against the goalie, and we see a KO now. Fiery gaining a little bit of XP there, and that's the stuff you need. This is what he's been looking for this entire time, but there's just too many things on the pitch and too little stagger on this striker to do it.
Yeah, I think something that's really indicative, right? Despite that KO, Fiery was so scared to walk into the Obscura goo that he just kind of gave up on the offensive play before anything could happen. Average Alex, an amazing finish here on the Fini to get the point.
Yeah, nice self pass there, and definitely something to note. As you mentioned, it's scary to play against teams like this. When you're dying over and over, you're being conditioned to evade. And even off rip here, we see Vaughn immediately dumping that Vice secondary directly on to Fiery, and that's what you have to look out for. So when you do have the opportunity to be aggressive, you still don't want to overcommit because of the insane damage output that comes out from this team.
Absolutely agreed, right? And right now I'm looking at this Vaughn with this core flip. It's going to make him harder to get through, but additionally, that's another source of damage on these offensive plays. Yeah, Vaughn really looking for situations where he could go forward, get in Loon's face, take out probably that last prize fighter stack for the goalie. But before then, is that a Hungry Like Nephew might just score.
Yeah, a huge strike war win from Bells. The pressure is mounting for PPL. Average Alex potentially next in line to get staggered, and beautiful strike war wins from Vaughn. Able to keep this core in their possession. Here comes the Fini ult. Vaughn with the self pass evades that pendulum swing, and Bells looking for the strike ward, just trying to dash punch it through. But PPL is controlling the midfield right now. They're doing a great job. All it takes is one Juno blob as we hit overtime for that core to go in. And there's a huge KO. Hungry Like Nephew, 1 point away from getting to this final set. There's the ult coming out. Bell's not able to get the self pass off the speakers, but the opportunity is still there. An insane sword angle and the flip from Loom to clear this core out. Can they keep the defense going for much longer? No, they cannot. You already lose with the blobs, able to secure this 3rd point in the set. But what a defense coming out from PPL.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And to be clear, right, all PPL, all of their players are playing phenomenally. The problem is that they're just not getting the opportunity to play very often, right? Average Alex and Fiery, especially Fiery, constantly under fire. This is going to be worse too, right? Double cooldown for this Vice, and it's so easy to proc heavy impacts and hot shot on the Vice because of that chain lightning that Vaughn is going to have like a 6-second primary, right? I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but this man is going to be able to stop regeneration of stagger by himself now. And even though the fight or flight does go the way of Loom, which, you know, not as strong as you want on the goalie, and Fiery does get some mobility, which is a way that you could outmaneuver some of this KO, it just feels like this is checkmate right now for Hungry Like Nephew.
Oh, that's right. Whatever PPL thinks that primary cooldown is, it's probably a second less. That is just not what you want to see. Especially Juno starting to spark up with that spark of strength, spark of focus. That's going to be a lot of power. That's 139 power already coming out here. Of course, this Juliet having a lot more, and there's the team play right there coming out. The entirety of Hungry Like Nephew getting in on that, hungry to score this first goal in set number 3, and it could be a perfect 3-0 sweep in this game number 1. Of course, this is Hungry Like Nephew's map pick, and the next map is going to be Inky's Splash Zone, believe it or not. But I don't want to count this team out because you never know in NASL.
Absolutely right. If there is a team that is hungry, it is PPL, right? And even though Vaughn here going to be staggered and potentially yoinked away by Fiery, but on the flip side, Bell's just hundreds to zeros his opponent. Brutal. Oh, Vaughn gets a return kill as well. This is brutal for PPL.
Yeah, this is a GG go next. I mean, you have the flip to stall it, and you do have the team coming back, but Okay, there we go. We find the KO already onto Bells. This is a good scoring opportunity potentially there. We see the sad boys emote coming out from Average Alex. We love to see it, and just trying to get this through. The Vice ult not making things easy for PPL. Even with the power play, there are no free goals in NASL, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And almost another KO, this time on Mloom. This is looking so deadly. An amazing piercing shot, though, from Mloom to keep the play going. As we do go back, Hungry Like Nephew on the defense, but this hot shot from Juno, or this power from Juno, I mean, it looks like hot shot, but it isn't. It's just too much to bear. And that's just, yeah, it's just the steamrolling coming out from Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, they're doing such a great job at controlling this midfield here. And I mean, we just look at the level difference, right? It's so difficult. You're level 7 versus a full level 10 team, essentially, just constantly receiving damage in the midfield. And the second you push up all the way, Vaughn just teleports past the midfield, and now your S.A.D.B.O.I.S goalie is in a 1v3.
Yeah, already a flip comes out. This could be game right there. Whoa! I don't know what was happening there, but it looks like they got the goal. And that's game number 1. The first season of the North American Strikers League goes the way of Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, a great performance from this team. That is just so much damage coming out on Clarion, and there was just no opportunities to control the core, Brickbat.
There really weren't. There really weren't. Vaughn, I think, a one-man army, right? All on his own. 31,000 damage just to his name, right? 5 KOs on the character that does not get a lot of KO confirms, right? Usually you're going to be relying on specialized training Juliet, who got 5 KOs of her own, right? Nothing to scoff at as well, but insane performance, I think. I think Vaughn very clearly the MVP out of that game. Same goal participation as his forwards, more redirects, 100 over his, his brawler, and Vice is looking good, right? I think this is a big winning patch for eject and momentum boots goalies. I personally favor the momentum boots goalies, right? But obviously Vaughn is here today to show us that eject button is just as powerful, just as deadly, and especially in the hands of a very aggressive forward playing someone, with a little bit of midfielding experience, right, can be extremely potent here in the North American Strikers League.
Yeah, 100%. And when you have teammates of this caliber, I mean, we know what S.A.D.B.O.I.S can do. Having one extra person on the forward to just pass that rock, I mean, it's unstoppable, right? That's really the advantage. Just get rid of their players and have more on your side to deal all this pressure. I mean, that's what's happening at this top level. If you cannot get it past the midfield, you cannot break these barriers, you cannot score. And that's why Hungry Like Nephew is such a scary team to play against.
Absolutely agree. It's like you said, it's just simple math, right? 3 is greater than 2. And hey, if you get in those situations, might as well just win, right? So I think great showing here. I think that as well, right? I think this speaks as well to a bit of a shift in meta, right? KO, which has steadily been gaining momentum even in the previous patch. Now, I think here in full swing, especially, right? I think if eject goalies are going to be big, you can't help but think about the Imi, right? A staple pick in top levels of Mega Strikers. And even though she's kind of been hit by nerfs, and a lot of people think that she's weak right now, I think her, the Imi, right, the Vice, even things like potentially the Luna can come out in any of these situations, right? And that might be a preview of next series, right? With, I believe, never mind, not next season, a few series down the line, right? Merchant on Bozo Bunch, right? But yeah, going back to it, right? This, I think a big part of this patch was just kind of nuking from orbit, the prevalence of melee goalies, the dominance of holding it down goalies. And right, even though PPL really never liked melee goalies, they're playing range goalies. Hungry Like Nephew is going to be playing range goalies. I expect a lot of teams going to be playing range goalies. This is a new Omega Strikers for a lot of people, and I'm excited. We got a very, very strong first game from Hungry Like Nephew. I'm excited to see what game 2 brings.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be on Inky Splash Zone, which we do know, which is PPL's pick. So I'm sure they've been practicing. They've been in the trenches with this one. We all know, and some people love Inky's. I think it's definitely an interesting map, I will say, as a goalie player. And we've had a lot of fun casting it in the past, but it does sort of lead to different strategies, right? Because for last game example, we saw a bunch of KOs coming out. Now, what if you don't have time to KO people because there's a giant water beam coming at you? Like, yeah, I feel like that totally switches up the character pool that you're able to play and makes characters who might not be viable on maps where you actually have to run around and take up the full space completely viable.
Absolutely agreed, right? Rasmus, huge, or sorry, Fiery, a huge fan of that Rasmus, right? Played a previous game, has probably his kind of default pick in a lot of situations. I've had the pleasure of playing with it a ton, and in those situations, Fiery can kind of do it all if he gets the momentum going in his favor. He could score, he could play, he could rotate back to play midfielder. Heck, he could even play a little bit of goalie if you need him to, right? And if he gets his hands on that Rasmus, joined by something aggressive from Bloom, which Bloom basically always picks, like you mentioned, these points could be over in just a flash. That being said, Inky's Hungry Like Nephew are no strangers to Inky's. They're one of the forefront teams, I think, alongside PPL that really brought Inky's strategy, I guess, to the forefront of Mega Strikers, right? For those of you who've been around, right, for a year plus, right, the conception of Inky Splashstones was very negative as an uncompetitive, very quick, very, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse map. But that has changed in recent years, and that's honestly changed for a lot of maps in general, which is why I think this season is very exciting to look at, especially for these map pick bans. But Inky's especially is something that I think both of these teams are very experienced going into, and we'll see what they can pull off. I expect some lightning fast rounds, like you mentioned.
That's right. I will be running it down as Vice in ranked, so stay off the queues, guys. You know I'm coming after watching that game number one. But we do see starting awakenings here, Twin Drive and Timeless Creator making an appearance once again. We do see the Era and Kai band coming out. I feel like, what do you think, Brickbat? I mean, none of these, I guess both of these characters are pretty strong with Twin Drive. Is that something you expect to see?
I'm I'm really curious because you know what happened? This I believe was the exact opposite, right? Hungry Like or sorry, PPL banned Kai, Hungry Like Nephew banned Era, and on the flip side now, Hungry Like Nephew are banning Kai and PPL are banning Era. And Era, I think, absolute talk of the town, right? This 0.2 second cast time on an ability that has the range that Era does is very good. Like, just let's put it out there, right? Arguably, she is the best midfielder in the game now because of that change, right? Even just that small cast time change gives her so many options to play aggressively in ways that she just hasn't before, which a lot of teams are really, really adapting to. And it makes a lot of the rest of her kit even more better or stronger, right? If you have to think about when that beam's going to come out, that allows the NATO to sneak up on you, right? That makes you more privy to be hit by debuffs. That makes the enemy brawler more likely to be hit by buffs, right? It's just an easier thing to use now. And because of that, Era has zoomed all the way back to the top. I fully expect her to have a 90+% presence today. And obviously, we're seeing that, right? Banned out in both games by Red Team. Do not want to give that Era away first pick.
Yeah, we will. I'll be excited to see the percentages later on once the stat. I don't know if the stats people are still collecting that, but if we get to see the ban rates for strikers, it's insane to see how Era all of a sudden, after one small patch, is now a huge contender in NASL, and want to see how this meta is pioneered moving forward. Game number 2, Inky's Splash Zone. We are getting into it. We're going to see Hungry Like Nephew on the left side here, up 1-0 in this series, looking to close it out with a clean 2-0. Will they be able to do it, Brickbat?
Something that I want to bring attention to, Luna here from Vaughn. He loves this pick, especially on Twin Drive. Look how aggressive you could play, just sniping away goalie berries. But if Fiery, like you mentioned, gets his way here in the enemy goal net, he might be able to just score it before anything happens. But as for now, we're going back into the middle of it.
And that's a lot of strike resets. Was just having a conversation earlier, and Bell's trying to end that conversation. A nice quick goal there with the bread and butter Zentaro. But Juno is such a scary character to play against just because of those strike resets when you're hitting the blob. You have to be worried about that, and you can easily lose out on strike wars completely just by your teammates stepping on the blob. So something definitely notable, which I'm sure all of these characters, or all these players on the pitch know, being in NASL here. We see Bells taking another barrier. It's going to be difficult for Maloom on this now goalie, and the flip blocked away. We do see the blast coming out, and you already lose with a KO just for good measure, able with that piercing shot to get the second goal. And this has been perhaps 2 minutes or 1 minute, and there's 2 goals already for the side of Hungry Like Nephew.
Right, very, very dominant first performance. Looking to continue that momentum from last game. And look at Vaughn, he's so aggressive. He didn't even take his eject button back. He's so confident in the offense of his team. He's just back again.
Yeah, that is not what you want to see if you're PPL. Vaughn is feeling himself right now and trying to keep this ball past the midfield. There again, B.O.I.S looking for that bread and butter, trying to secure it. Pendulum swing, not able to get the core fast enough. 26 seconds left on the clock. B.O.I.S with the passive, able to hit that down. Keep this corner pressure here. You already lose. Has to try to get it past the Juno blob now. And this Luna goalie is scary. That missile almost taking out Fiery off the bottom. You already lose with the Rose Warp. Trying to find it. The Supernova coming out. Not needed. B.O.I.S able to secure that. And a quick 3-0 coming out from Hungry Like Nephew here. And we'll have to see if the Awakenings favor them.
Taking a look at this, I'm immediately looking at that explosive entrance, right? Dash range on Zentaro, something that he loves, even more so on open maps like Inky's Splash Zone. We'll see what actually gets picked up here, but I'm also looking at things like the hot shot for Estelle, right? Not only does it deny the Juno, Estelle herself is incredibly good, right? It makes that primary all the more deadly. That just that fraction of a second of hit stun with the added core speed means that she's going to get so many more goals, so many more barriers that she otherwise wouldn't have. And on the bottom end of that draft, I'm actually looking at the specialized training on Rasmus, right? Fiery, huge fan of Pummeler's Rasmus, takes it every map he can, and he specifically does it because of how good his KO presence is in corner offense, is already getting one, and this is a power play. Feels like a first here for PPL.
Oh, definitely a first, and especially on a huge impact player like Vaughn on this Luna. But B.O.I.S looking to get the instant goal. Fiery just has to put it through both players. And Maloom looking for this pass. The pressure coming out from the Jet. B.O.I.S looking to secure it again. Not able to find it. Here comes all of You Already Lose's abilities. And Fiery gets a chance to dribble. The pendulum swing to hit it up top. And now has the Timeless Creator. Might be able to help out in the offense. Vaughn from downtown. Not able to find it yet. But Vaughn is going to be such a threat with his eject button. Not to mention Twin Dry. That's two opportunities to be a problem in the net.
Yeah, agreed. You already lose now. Up to B.O.I.S, potentially staggered here. Could be sent off, especially if that specialized training Rasmus hits him. We'll see, though, if B.O.I.S and Fiery really are even able to meet here.
See a way to mine the stun, though. Maloom can't even strike the core. And this is where things get scary. That explosive entrance means B.O.I.S has scoring potential from outside of the goalie box.
Yeah, just, it's brutal. It felt like for a second there, PPL might get a little bit of momentum, but it's just immediately taken away, right? Any second that Vaughn is here playing offense is a second where Bloom is going to have to deal with this potentially surprise 3v1 situations, which is just so hard to deal with, especially now that you're not playing range goalies. You're not playing characters that win every single interaction, right? And good old Omega Strikers could come calling.
That's right, and I don't even think Maloom had the opportunity to use the flip there for that one, taking damage from B.O.I.S as Vaughn hearing that goal, able to put it through. And this is just what's so scary about that team. We saw a second ago, the core is right in front of PPL's barrier, and all three players are looking for the opportunity to take this barrier. I mean, it's so difficult to deal with, and a nice KO will mean PPL has a bit of a power play, but look at this. The barrier finally falls now with 1 second left on Yell's cooldown. And Vaughn making sure this goal does not go in, trying to keep this game perfect so far. We'll have to see if they're able to.
Yeah. It's scary, right? B.O.I.S with his flip, right? Especially on a map like Inky's where things could get switched in any which way at any second. We'll see if PPL are going to be able to hold strong their advantage right now, but Hungry Like Nephew are no jokes here on the defense.
Yeah, Fiery will get healed up a little bit, just eating damage from the entire Hungry Like Nephew roster. Fiery there with a nice death touch. The pendulum swing not stunning for long enough. A fraction of a second more, and that goal was in there. There's Vaughn with that second barrier. Maloom has very few abilities, but we do see B.O.I.S off the pitch. Alex is back. Here comes the pressure from PPL. There's the pendulum swing. Fiery now trying to control the core. The shot up. blocked away by Vaughn. You already lose. Looking for the piercing shot just wide of the net. And Vaughn does not have that many abilities to work with. Alex up top, the flip coming through, and Vaughn, the alley-oop from Bells, secures set number 2, 3-0.
God, that was nasty. I mean, the Blick already has so many mix-ups, but the Luna from the rafters to just red core it in. I mean, what do you do? What do you do for your Bloom? You just watch and pray that you can react to the milliseconds that you have to actually catch that. An amazing, like you said, an alley-oop. Like friggin' that one image where there's a dude dunking that people make a bunch of SpongeBob drawings of. It was that image. That image. Yeah. They just did that. And looking at draft here, I'm looking Monumentalist on now, right? Tried and true, right? But this missile propulsion on Vaughn, right? Not only something that is just generally good on Luna, but Vaughn, I've been seeing, has been playing very well with their placements to hit the core in ways that PPL are not expecting, and he's going to have a lot more opportunities to do that now with that added range anywhere on the map.
Yeah, and the extra power coming out. Wow, that was almost a double kill there. The extra power coming out there from the missile propulsion just means we've seen Vaughn push back Fiery, like almost out of the play with the distance, just from a rocket hitting. And we're going to see that a lot more with missile prop. Even further, Vaughn now is just in the goal box. There's so many abilities coming out, and the core will drift through. I believe Bell's credited, or Vaughn actually credited with that goal. There's just so many abilities coming out, and I don't even know if you can time that properly. If you're Maloom, you kind of just have to sit there and take it.
Yeah, 100%. You just kind of have to, pick whatever, you know, Mega Striker's god you pray to, and hope they're watching. It's rough. We saw Fiery just get taken out by Rocket Raw, and I don't know what else there is to really say. It really feels like all the momentum, all the power is in the hands of Hungry Like Nephew. It's their game to win. It's their game to lose. It's their game to do whatever with. They own everything.
Yeah, they are tap dancing around the pitch right now as we see another KO. Vaughn just sitting in the goal box and burning out that entire eject button timer. There's the flip a little bit late. Here comes another one. Is stuffed. This will go down. Alex looking for that jet to come up off respawn. Able to fish it out. Fiery with the stun on You Already Lose. I'm not sure how Vaughn wasn't able to strike that. Perhaps burn the cooldown a little bit too early, but PPL getting on the board in game number 2. It is only week 1, so there's definitely going to be some VODs to study coming up here, but these teams are no joke.
I think Vaughn whiffed the strike trying to get the core out of the water jet. I think that might have been what happened if I were able to capitalize on immediately. And as a flip here, has some stuff to work with, but he might be threatened to use it defensively here maybe. But right now, there is a lot of pressure coming out. PPL has some signs of life.
Definitely some signs of life. I think the creations and the creation size from Maloom will help in this midfield. Just keep the core past that line, and a little bit greedy trying to get that KO. Vaughn leaving the net open. Fiery credited with the goal from the grave. Will somehow bring PPL up in the set right now, 2-1.
Yeah, they're like a
what?
That's bars and back. That is not what you like to see.
No, that is, and that's a 14-second goal. Okay. Let's walk back in here. Do not count Hungry Like Nephew out. That is a lot of damage and an immediate goal, and things are even right now. It's golden goal right now. Hungry Like Nephew needs one more to close out this series in a perfect 2-0, but Fiery with a beautiful death touch manages to take set number 3. And just like that, we're going to see PPL getting some awakenings here.
Splash zone. Yeah. It can go Inky splash zone. All right. Looking at draft stacks on stacks is what I'm looking at. It's going to be big on whoever picks it up. 1-2 punch for this Juno as well. We already saw the Slimes giving a lot of trouble, but it's actually going to be Spark of Leadership going to be taken out. I'm not a NASL player, but I have heard a lot of discourse from NASL players or former NASL players about Spark of Leadership. Some people think this awakening sucks. It's third Spark though, notably. So that means that It does give the Spark Exodia that people want. Not the Exodia, but the Spark kind of break point, which is going to be very big. Obviously a huge tempo swing for the side of PPL, right? Which means that there is a potential win con here, but even then, it's debatable, but we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm getting yelled at that it's third Spark, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. It seems to be working right now, but that's a lot of cooldowns. Here comes the jet from Inky's looking to cause some pressure. Alex up to Fiery with the mix-up. Vaughn reads down, and actually the recovery drone is popped by Fiery. Able to sneak that past, and that's gone for the rest of the set. Things are looking good for PPL.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing to look at as well, right? Bells does have the stacks on stacks, which is something that could absolutely come into play as well. Zentaro very good at getting those stacks, even with the nerfed reductions. Barrier down here for the side of PPL, but Fiery looks to be playing very aggressive, just looking to make sure that Vaughn can't enter the play. Basically always standing between him and the core so he can never dash in. Well,
and he dashed in, Brickbat. He dashed in, and that's the first goal for Hungry Like Nephew in this set. And things are scary. We've seen You Already Lose doing a great job in this midfield, and that's one of the key players on this team. Of course, all three are probably on the Mount Rushmore of Omega Strikers for sure. With that being said, You Already Lose making sure that Maloom's like sentries and mines and everything are just not being utilized properly in the midfield. We see constantly the use of the Rose Warp to block out that insane speed, that red core that will come from all that power from those creations. So hard to get it past, and Vaughn just with the ego check gets that strike, where the flip coming out from Bells, the patience from all of these players. It's all about mind games if you want to take this barrier, and look at all of the abilities coming through, and still Maloom holds.
Yeah, well played here from the side of PPL to actually really mount what looked like a really good offense here from Hungry Like Nephew. That being said, they're going to lose it. That stray rocket coming out from Vaughn, the missile propulsion from anywhere, right? It's a bit dastardly.
Indeed, and Bells goes fishing. Able to take that out the second it comes through off that corner. And that's great positioning and communications from the side of Hungry Like Nephew, and they're 1 point away again from closing it. We've seen this before though. Will the sparks be enough? And that's a 3-second barrier. The piercing shot finds all three players, but not the core. And the jet comes out. There's pressure mounting. The barrier will drop for Hungry Like Nephew, trying to get this through. Almost does with the Juno slime. And here comes the pressure. Somehow Vaughn is holding again and again, and Fiery will win the double strike war against You Already Lose and Vaughn. And again, 2-2 in this set. PPL is not out yet.
I don't even know how Fiery got that strike. Did he finesse the core with the death toucher there? I don't know how he got that strike, but that was incredible coming out from Fiery. That's exactly the offense you want to need. You're going to need here if you want to take it. And this went the way of PPL before. They could potentially take this set here too.
That's right. We will see Bloom in the net. Vaughn trying to fly in here. You Already Lose looking for the stun. A great use of this mine here. And Bells is low up top. We see Fiery fishing for that Death's Touch here. Vaughn will clear it away, and it's a difficult position for Maloom. 2 flips, though, in the net for PPL. There's one used in offense. The Juno Slimes almost get it through. Vaughn has the flip, though. Great patience, but a better clear from Vaughn. Average Alex, low HP. Vaughn with the back pass. Insane teamwork coming out. Bells was not prepared, though. Trying to stuff this through. Fiery with the self pass. The Juno blob finds its mark. Here comes the blobs and the damage. Vaughn cannot strike it. PPL evens out the game. 2-2 in sets, and we're going to set number 5.
Yeah, an Average Alex here, first in draft. I actually don't know if the Spark is there. The Spark is there! The Spark Exodia with Spark of Leadership, cinema. And even though Vaughn is going to get this Deadeye, I'm also looking at that Adrenaline Rush and Stinger as well, right? KO could always come back in full force, right? This is Spark of Leadership Exodia, right? The optimal Spark build. And most importantly, I think this is the most important Spark for Juno to get. She is now going to be red coring, right? With those slimes off rip, I believe. And that is the potential, that is the explosive core control that PPL need to get through. Again, what is not a melee goalie, right? Vaughn is going to have to spend a lot more resources here on the defense, and he might be not even able to get to it fast enough. Already, a goalie barrier down.
That's right, and immediately a 5-second goal coming out from PPL. I think it was the spark of strength, but I'm trolling a little bit. That is insane. And look at all the damage awakenings that came out. We see Vaughn getting Deadeye. We see Fiery with Prize Fighter, and Average Alex with Spark of Strength. Or, yeah, with the Spark of Strength also getting applied onto Fiery.
Oh,
and look at this.
God.
The net is open. The net is open.
I think this has been 10 seconds so far. I think I'm scared to even talk. I don't want to be talking when this last goal is scored. Anything can happen here.
Anything can happen, and it's going to be quick. Vaughn already taking some stagger. Fiery in this midfield. They will be dashing in. There's the barrier almost finding its mark through those gates. Fiery is staggered, but healed back up. Here comes the jet to clear things away. Bells is going to be fishing, and You Already Lose finds it. Able to secure that with those Crystal Thorns, I believe. And there's a 7-second goal. We're at a total of 18 seconds now. 4 goals scored in set number 3. And this is still terrifying. There's a KO immediately. Fiery almost finds the barrier. And now you just have to get it through Vaughn. And there it is. Fiery has the opportunity to score it here and close out this game. The KO core flip from Bells, though. Here's the flick. The jet away catches Bells. And Fiery keeping the control of this core. The missile coming through. You Already Lose looking for the combo. Well, Fiery is staggered. Alex back on the pitch. Maloom up to Alex. The shot cleared away. And the flip is so patient. Fiery just needs to win one strike war to close out this game. And here's the opportunity. The pass, the bad bounce off the corner. All players here and another KO. 3 prize fighter stacks for Fiery. Average Alex is going to be working to get the core there. And there it is. Fiery closes out game number 2 in a ridiculous comeback for PPL.
I would like to give my formal apologies to Spark of Leadership. I did not understand the capabilities. I looked at like the 20 movement speed, the 9 CDR, and I was like, okay, it's not that big a deal. It was clearly a big deal. That is my fault, and I owe Spark of Leadership. I underestimated it. Okay, 4 Spark. Okay, yeah, 4 Sparks came later. Pod. Okay, whatever. Moving on though, right? Looking, I mean, okay, yo, guys, I'm being gaslit live. All right, let me. You know what? Good job, PPL. Yo, this producer guy, right? I'm not gonna say his name. You know who he is. Right? It's like, oh, Spark of Leadership, it's 3 sparks, it's so good. When I was like, oh, I don't think the Spark of Leadership was gonna be that great. And then this producer guy,
I think you're hearing things. I think you're, I don't want to gaslight you, but I think you're acting crazy right now, Brickbat. I'm not gaslighting, but you're kind of crazy. So
sorry, the voice is one for a second there. Looking back on it though, right? Absolutely well played. I think 4 Sparks obviously gonna be amazing. Did so much of that heavy lifting in the end of that game, that final set, right? I think that was a potentially sub 1 minute playtime set, right? And that courtesy of Inky's, right? That always, that could happen. But I think that also speaks to the advantage, especially now that Juno was red coring pretty much all the time. It really felt like it was just so hard for Hungary Like Nephew to keep up in that situation. Looking at it as well, right? 7 KOs that came out. I believe a large amount of them came in that last set or 2 as well, right? The pummelers, right? You can't forget about it. And even though it didn't have a huge presence in the early part of the game, Fiery was starting to find those KOs. He was starting to find those prize fighter stacks, and I think he absolutely contributed to that win as well.
Yeah, I think there was at least 4 KOs in that last set, or at least a 4 KO streak. I'm not sure if that resets between sets there. But yeah, Fiery, a lot of damage output, partially assisted by just heavy impact prize fighter. And then also, getting that 25% spark from Average Alex. I mean, that just 4 sparks is ridiculous. He got the deed to the game. That's what I'll say. You got the deed and the key to the Inky Splashstone City. So we will have to see game number 3. I'm not quite sure what map it's on. We'll probably see that in a second, but going to be Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, Brickbat. I think anything can happen in this game number 3. I was expecting game number 2 to just be a total slam. I was not expecting PPL to reverse sweep that. But that's, what you need to see on the first game of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not too sure. It feels like Hungry Like Nephew had very dominant performances, right? Let's not forget, right? The first half of that game did happen, right? We were just, I believe I was literally saying it's just Hungry Like Nephew could do whatever they want this game and they'd still win. Obviously, they couldn't, as this reality shows, right? So, a couple good drafts, right? Maybe a hidden strategy to pull out on game 3, or just even some random chance wherever the core goes, right? And PPL can take their opportunity, right? There is a reason that PPL is one of the teams here in the North American Strikers League. They had to fight for this position, and they are absolutely earning their keep here in game number 2. And if they really want to impress us, I think they're hungry for a game number 3. They want to make their mark here in the North American Strikers League. And honestly, right, the biggest question whenever, right, Lob City, Quest Esports, right, when you come in is, are you going to get that first win? Are you going to actually start your season? And doing it against Hungry Like Nephew is an amazing statement. It's a strong statement to start your tenure.
Absolutely. And, looks like we're going to be getting into the pick and ban here. We do see a big fish and monumentalist start. And for map
Ooh.
knowers, you know why Finny is banned immediately.
Ooh. Yeah, it's Finny, especially with anything that increases the size of her ultimate, right? It's so impossible to deal with, right? Especially now, right, where the only characters that can deal with it, right? The Asher, the Atlas, the Dubu, these are characters that are not seeing as much play so far in this season, and not even something that PPL really plays. So it absolutely makes sense. They're just like, we don't want to deal with it, even though we're blue pick. We don't want to deal with it. And as I say it, right, they lock in the Atlas. But yeah, disturbing pick, a disturbing start for this map. We'll see what the rest of the draft brings us.
Yeah, and I'm expecting damage, perhaps, on a map like this. I mean, of course, the Finny will get banned out immediately to sort of prevent against that, but that's just what you expect. I mean, there's only so much you can do, especially when the core is behind your net, and especially against the Juno, which I think is one of potentially the scariest picks on here. This Juno Rasmus, uh, for Hungry Like Nephew, is going to be terrifying. I mean, this is not what you want to see if you're a goalie and all of a sudden you're getting strike reset because there's about a 5-foot area you can walk through with Juno slime all over the floor, and immediately just getting like triple strike resetted into your little circle speaker. Like, come on, that's not
Yeah.
fun.
W Judo, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. It can get extremely claustrophobic in those situations, especially because there are 2 awakenings here that grant size to things, right? Big Fish, right? Size to the striker, Monumentalist size to the creations. And when you have that little space to work with, really anything can happen. It's going to be, a mosh pit, as, this map was inspired by, of course, right? So we'll see which team comes out on top. I'm also looking at this Kazan pick, right? Another staple pick for Fiery, something that can be KO'd out, especially, right? I think this is going to be Vaughn on the Rasmus, who's going to be hungry, looking for those KO confirms, and can really, honestly, given a bit of power, start bullying out of this Kazan from the positions that he wants to be in.
That's right. Well, map number 3, we have all the picks locked in for Hungry Like Nephew. We do have the Juno, most likely Erasmus goalie, and then the Julie forward. And for PPL, you have that Atlas Kazan now, a whole lot of core control, and just a lot of things that will hit you, as
Yeah.
we come to see in the North American Strikers League and in Omega Strikers. So we're going to be getting into it here. Map number 3, the contested name for how you pronounce this map. I say Demon Days. I'm hoping that's right, Brickbat.
I will make I will make no official statement. I mean, I think Mr. Producer Man might come to my house and drag me off if I pronounce it wrong. So I will be referring to this as the map.
All
And
right.
then we will continue it. Going into it though, I'm excited to see this. I'm really, really curious about how Fiery versus Vaughn is going to play out here. I think that might be indicative of who is going to win this game, depending on whether or not Fiery can really get past the defense of the Rasmus here, or if Vaughn is just going to bully out the Brawler.
That's right. Well, two Monumentalists on the side of PPL here. Only one for you already lose on the side of Hungry Like Nephew, and you see a quick barrier fall. Making clears as a goalie, incredibly difficult on this map just because it's a circle. And a circle has all of the angles. But when you're the goalie, it feels like you don't have any of the angles to clear out against a comp like this. So both these teams, corner defense, going to be incredibly important. You know, we've seen how well Hungry Like Nephew does in their corner defense from that game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Notably, this is a Vambrace Kazan, right? Has that burst potential, right? 6 abilities to revive, but already a KO found by Bells. Has the flip here. This might be a goal soon.
Sure might. There's the flip. Looking for that top corner. Ooh. Average Alex with the ego check uses those abilities. Instead, Fiery punished for it, taken off the pitch, keeping this power play alive for another 10 seconds. There's the shot up top. Just a little bit wide here. Bells burns all those abilities. Vaughn and You Already Lose both have the flip. Neither have to use it. Bells able to find this first goal here for Hungry Like Nephew, and it's going to be difficult if these players are being taken off the pitch. You have to stop this momentum early and make sure that you're all scaling at the same rate.
Yeah, agreed. This Atlas revive also going to be incredibly useful with the Monumentalist too. It's going to take up a very large area, so if it gets to those mosh pit situations, PPL might find themselves with a very big advantage, especially in that, you know, that Brawler versus goalie matchup we're going to see here on the right side of the field. As of right now, though, it's actually going to be Average Alex taking a chill pill here in the KO penalty box.
Yeah, and there's a lot of healing on this team, too. I mean, of course, you have the Now Mines, you have the Now ult, and you also have Maloom able to use that ult there every 40 seconds or so. And despite this, we're still going to find a lot of KOs coming out from this. Bells doesn't even have pauldrons either, has the slick kicks, and still able to find a lot of damage onto these strikers. Something to look out for during this matchup.
I'm actually super curious. Oh my gosh, that flame flurry that I think Bells was knocked into by Fiery, a bit of a betrayal there coming out from the Brawlers. All Brawlers are beautiful, but as of right now, Average Alex gonna have to play goalie here for a little bit.
That's right. Maloom is back up. Still one tick left on this barrier on the right side, which seems like a mountain to climb. That core flip, I thought it was going to bounce down, but perfect angle coming out there from Bells, and a nice shot able to find it. Just an absolute ripper in the top. That's the difficulty of playing so many of these goalie characters. You do not have your strike shot. You don't have your secondary. And even then, it's so fast.
Yeah, obviously as well, right? The Monumentalist Juno, right, actually going to add some of that core speed as well, which makes it even harder for Atlas to defend against that speed. But amazing strike layering actually coming out from Hungry Like Nephew there. But they are going to lose their goalie barrier here. PPL potential opportunity.
That's right. And as you mentioned, I do believe that Team Player is actually in this patch of the game. So will help out a team like PPL if Maloom is able to get their hands on that. That's going to be a big thing. Just prediction for the future. We'll have to see if that does come out. But look at the pressure. Vaughn all the way up midfield on this Rasmus with those powerhouse pauldrons. Doesn't even need the speed, just needs the pressure, and a beautiful pass. Reads You Already Lose. Who's expecting the down clear. Instead, Fiery gets a piece of that, and PPL is on the board. Nice teamwork there on this midfield and forward position.
Yeah. Obviously, it's probably not intentional. I think Fiery was just following, you know, Brawler instincts of getting the core in the net as fast as possible, but it's actually very crucial, I think, that Fiery get first in this upcoming draft. This is an entire team comp and build, right, with a vicious Vambrace that is dependent on keeping Fiery alive so he could play his core control game plan. And if he does not get that, if he doesn't get the scaling that he needs to kind of carry these offensive situations, this is a team that really won't have a game plan coming into these later sets. So Fiery's going to need to play very well, I think, here on the first set in order to kind of confirm a good spot in the upcoming draft.
That's right. 100%. We saw that last game. We saw what Fiery can do. Keep him alive. and you will score 2 goals in 10 seconds. Maybe not on this map, but definitely the name of the game. As you mentioned, Bell's here healing up a little bit, trying to stay away from that damage, and that's a big KO find. Fiery almost finds Vaughn too. Bells has to dash in and play second goalie, and we do have the power play, although Hungry Like Nephew going to keep this power play from residing any further. Bloom now trying to clear this up, and Average Alex on a little bit low HP will be forced to burn that flip, trying to find the KO, and a beautiful save from Bloom will drop that barrier though. However, an Average Alex low HP now, as the second barrier will fall.
Yeah, Fiery looking to potentially get something back, but the core is just sailing around him, right? You're not going to have any mobility here with Vicious Van Brace either. You're going to be reliant on your abilities, and if you don't have them, the core could sail past like nothing, just as it is right now. The defense from Hungry Like Nephew is looking scary.
That's right. This core is just floating around, and a beautiful play from Fiery will take that second barrier. Vaughn and Maloom, both goalies, have the flip and have the opportunity to use it defensively. Fiery with the self pass, looking up top. You already lose. Just sitting there. A good shot by Fiery. Had the potential to score there, and the self pass, not able to get the strike timing for that second one. Looking for that hook, for that crooked leverage, trying to get the core in possession. Here comes the Juno blobs as we hit overtime so fast. These pendulum swings are going to be essential. And this pressure coming out. There's the flip. Will it go top? Nope. Down the bottom. A great shot by Fiery. Saw Vaughn started to walk up just slightly and rips it in the bottom corner. 2-2 in set number 1, and this game is close.
Yeah, it is absolutely awesome that Fiery did that. An excellent kind of layer 2 on the thought process to get it past Vaughn there in the 50-50. PPL a potential steal. It feels like every set they're able to take is a steal, but they're stealing games, so this is just an opportunity for him. They're playing phenomenally.
That's right. They are playing amazing. Bells there. Flip to secure the barrier on set point. It is essential that you keep this alive. Vaughn now drops 1 tick. They'll keep this core in the corner. There's a lot of abilities being dumped. A lot of creations. Maloom, a little bit scary. Forced to go back now. This core will be moving quickly in about 10 seconds here. There's the flip, saved away the strike shot to help assist on the offense. Fiery dealing damage, and the core just drifts in.
Yeah, Bell's an insane outplay there. An amazing use of the Juliet primary, by the way, to win the first interaction to force the 50-50 against Average Alex, which he knew that he could be patient on, right? If he loses that, his team is just right behind him anyways. So absolutely great patience, absolutely great presence of mind, and that is the type of play to take away the set. Well played.
Yeah, and here's the hot shot denial. That is fair, but of
anyways,
course, every time you try to deny Juno, there's always hotshot and 1-2 punch back to back right next to each other. I have never seen those 2 awakenings appear on separate sets. It's always in the same. So not too punished, but obviously hotshot pretty helpful.
Yeah. By the way, guys, if you do not have an awakening to take and there's just nothing good, it is actually okay to take Orb Replicator. We saw Bells just take that right now, right? Even over something like the Stinger. Just said, hey, KO's not our game plan. We're just going to go this Orb Replicator, and it could do work, right? If you are going out of your way to deny orbs from the enemy goalie, or you are the goalie yourself, you could get a lot of value. It's 110% for both your teammates, right? So as we get into it, look to see how Bells positions for that, and we're going to see the value come out from that, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And that's just going to be some extra healing as well for You Already Lose, who's been taking a lot of damage in this midfield here. And speaking of damage, Fiery is low and in a scary spot. Whenever you see them walking towards one direction, that is where you know the dash punch and the Juno blobs are about to find their mark. There's a lot of damage. The flip comes out. Will take that second barrier. Bells with the flip of their own. A great prediction there by Bloom. Knows he's going to shoot it up, and second barrier will fall now, but still the pressure is all on PPL. Fiery just has to get this crooked leverage and find the perfect angle. But once again, both goalies have the flip. Alex close to having it. The pass up. Bell's looking for the dash punch. The stun will keep this goal alive for a little bit longer. Alex just has to try and lock this down. There's the flip. Bells trying to read something. Fiery with the top spin. Will he shoot down again? And he does. A great shot there coming out from Fiery, just knowing no one is in that corner. And despite Vaughn being large and in charge with essentially 3 size awakenings, still not able to get to that bottom side of the net.
Yeah. Notably as well, right, this Rasmus double size, it's so hard, even for a Kazan to strike war him. So this is good defense here. PPL absolutely, PPL playing phenomenally to even just get through that in the first place. But I think it's still an uphill battle for them. But right now, the aggression seems to be paying off.
Oh, absolutely. And part of this is just coming down to how well can you defend this net. And Bloom has so many more options with these projectiles. Has the strike shot, has the primary, and also just has your win button that you get every once in a while. Unfortunately, win button not working out this time as that second barrier falls, evening things out. We see the corner defense coming out again, trying to get Fiery the core. And the speed coming out from the midfield from You Already Lose and Bells is scary. That's a lot of surmounting pressure that Fiery's not able to get back to. Ooh. But Fiery will secure yet another goal. And, you know, Brickbat, as you mentioned earlier, that's the game plan. Get Fiery the core and let him cook.
Yeah, absolutely. And on this Kazan, he has so much mix-up potential, right? Has the stuff to get it through the Rasmus, which might not potentially have those same tools, but even when he's not able to get those opportunities, he still has mix-up options, right? He's scored 2 goals, I believe, so far this game with really good core flip predictions, and if that continues, I think Vaughn is going to have to start playing a little bit more passively, which means that Hungry Like Nephew, potentially some cracks in the armor.
Yeah, and that's not something this team likes to play. They don't want to feel like they're playing on the back foot. They've been dominant for so long. Of course, throughout Omega Strikers history. They want to play on the offense. That's a big KO from Bells. Fiery, though, has the flip. Opting not to use it. Taking a lot of damage, though. The core drifting through, and Bells is just able to find that shot in the top corner there. Or technically the bottom corner for them. I guess that's the hot spot right now for all the goalies to be looking out for, is the bottom corner of these nets. And just a great performance, you know, coming out, finds that KO, a lot of damage, and the scaling definitely has started.
Yeah, agreed. I think the 1-2 punch from the Julia the 1-2 punch from the Juno means that she's able to play the damage game a little bit, right? And even though this is a composition dedicated to kind of protecting Fiery, if you're able to punch through that again, that's still always scary. But as of right now, it's going to be average Alex feeling a bit of punishment.
Yeah, no amount of healing can save you from that, especially if Maloom's ult is not up. A beautiful pass there. Bell's almost getting a piece of that, but Maloom had something to say about it. Fiery just not finding that strike timing here. Some beautiful passing. The flip comes through. And this is scary here for both sides. I feel like the defense is extremely equally matched right now.
Yeah, agreed. And average Alex and Fiery, I think, when they do get that opportunity to actually get the core in front of Vaughn, they are abusing what Rasmus is weak at quite well. The pass coming through, Fiery potentially the opportunity.
Wow.
Yeah. Whenever Fiery and average Alex get in a situation where they are advantaged, they are finding ways to get past Vaughn. It feels like Fiery might be figuring out something here. He might be cracking the code.
They might be. That's 3 goals for Fiery in this set. Evening things out, and we will see 2 sparks on the board, likely opting for that prime time. We'll get that second ability, able to throw out just against Juliet, just against Juno, able to sort of win any strike war for free with that extra primary charge. Definitely a good pickup there. And are you seeing any other notable pickups, Brickbat, during this draft?
Yeah, I'm looking at 2 of them, and I think it is the Stagger Awakenings for the forward duo. Again, there's already the Now, there's already the Atlas, there's already the Vicious Vambrace, and now you have to contend with a Reptile Remedy here on this Kazan. And even though there have been a lot of knockback KOs, right, doing a lot of Okay, my bad. Sorry, right? There have been a lot of knockback KOs, a lot of situations where Bells and you already lose, or Bells is fine the dash punch. I think that KO, or sorry, stagger KOs is really not an option anymore for Hungry Like Nephew, and I think it's going to give a lot of opportunities here to PPL.
Yeah, I mean, just look at how many ticks Fiery has on that HP bar. That's a lot. That's a lot of health. But that also means that you're going to have to output a lot of damage, and we see Fiery just using those... You just slamming down after using that umbrella and also hitting You Already Lose and Vaughn. I mean, the size awakening from the start means that range is just going to help out a lot. And there's a KO. Bells finds one and adds one to the prize fighter stack. Etch it in the belt. As we do see a huge KO coming out onto Fiery.
Now we're going back and forth. Average Alex playing good interference right now. Actually gets a reverse power play. Fiery's coming to catch up. Now Fiery doesn't have a pull, but has a bit more to work with. This is a potential goal here if Fiery plays it well, but You Already Lose and Bells both now on the defense. Actually gets the flip from Average Alex too. This is something good for Hungry Like Nephew.
That's right, but we do see Fiery on the offense, looking to stuff it through the flip on the goal line. And oh, Average Alex just misreading that strike timing. Will be punished for that barrier, and Bells almost finds that fish there, just trying to survive against Maloom here. The stagger coming out, and a demon angle off of the pendulum swing from Vaughn means that is absolutely tragic for PPL.
Really good find from Vaughn, right? And does have that Deadeye 2 with the triple size, which means his full pendulum swing, right? His full primary is getting that Deadeye effect, which is allowed it to send the core that fast, which is just another thing on the mental stack here for Maloom.
100% stuck in this corner now, looking for the offense. There's one barrier dropped. Bells just sitting on the speaker, really causing as much pressure as they can. Maloom's now getting active in the midfield, but has to be careful about this Julie. Atlas not known for being the most agile striker in the game in terms of speed, but still making it work in this midfield.
Yeah, and one thing I'm looking at right now, Fiery does have that flip, has used it incredibly well so far this game if he gets the opportunity, but he's going to have to play around this corner. Actually uses it to get a KO, a bit of a reversal from of fortunes here, but a good dash from Bells keeps him alive for now. An excellent evade as well.
Yeah, Bells somehow staying alive for yet a little while longer, and right now it's a 2 versus 2. Ooh. And then there's also a 1 versus 1 between Fiery and Bells, and Fiery almost finds that shot a pixel off from bouncing in. Once again, that strike just a little bit short. Bells going on the offense. You Already Lose does have the flip. Might have to use it defensively if Fiery keeps putting pressure on like this.
Yeah, agreed. Fiery just needs one thing. Has the pull here to potentially get it through. The strike war, though, goes in favor of You Already Lose. Flip for good measure as well to get it out and ready to go for Bells. Right now, Maloom desperately just trying to hold on to this final goalie barrier. Has a flip to work with, so he might be okay for now, but it's up to Average Alex to actually get it into the hands of Fiery. No, as I say, the core speed claims a barrier.
Yeah, this is huge now. Barriers open for both sides. Maloom does have the flip defensively, but it's going to be scary because as soon as that flip is proc, the Juno ult will likely come out and make it so hard to clear that core through. Fiery now receiving this pass. The Juno blob, as it hits overtime, is moving so quick. These dribbles are going to get even more difficult. Both goalies do have the flip, but if you shoot it in that opposite corner, it does not matter. There's the stun attempt from Fiery, not finding its mark. Has to win a strike war and get through 2 core flips now as You Already Lose flips it to the bottom. Bells looking for that demon angle with the punch, not quite able to find it to strike through, almost finds its mark. Maloom saves this core flip for a rainy day. The confidence right now, they're definitely feeling it, and the Juno blob is too quick. Strike it past, and you have to deal with her friends. You Already Lose closes out set number 3. 1 set away from closing out the series, but do not count either of these teams out just yet. We will see the draft here, and there's the team player I talked about earlier, but probably not the most impactful awakening compared to some of these other ones on the board.
Well, Vaughn ended up going. I mean, it does make sense, right? Once you get past the claustrophobic part of the map, it will become opened up, and that allows as well Fiery to get some size. Always good here. Double size on the Juliet, right? And you're just planning on winning the game. I think is another thing to look at as well. Actually, the spark of cooldown for the Juno already so hard to deal with, but now I think this is going to be a non-overtime red core, I believe. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Just a lot of builds coming together for the side of Hungry Like Nephew. Again, PPL gonna have to do something here.
Yeah, that's a big find too right away. There's the first part of that barrier gone. Looking for the second. Still have this power play for 4 more seconds, and there it is, looking to score. Bells now with this recovery drone is going to make Fiery's life way harder, as now you have to KO twice. At least the first time. Bells on low HP will get that orb, sharing it with their teammates, and nice patience there from Vaughn. Doing a great job choosing which battles they really want to take. Bells has this flip though. If this net's open, there's the flip from Maloom. No energy left. Bells burns it away on such low HP now as the entirety of PPL heals back up. Vaughn still has the flip in the net. So PPL have a mountain to climb if they want to score this goal.
Absolutely agreed. And Bells as well, actually just able to play in this midfield line. A good shot on the bottom side as well, but look at where Bells is positioning. A lot of the time, he's just playing midfield to contest with average Alex and actually relying on the core speed from both his goalie and his midfielder to set him up in any sort of future play or just outright score themselves, right? It's been something that PPL have had to contend with, and Bells is playing around that, I think, incredibly well, enabling his teammates.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, you can take the goalie. You can take You Already Lose out of the goalie, but you can't take the goalie out of You Already Lose. I mean, we'll see. Clearly, the midfielder on this map basically acts as a second goalie. We see them crowding around it very often, and You Already Lose, definitely the person you want by your side to clear it out. Understands the positioning and understands what's required for the goalie to make your life comfortable. And Bells definitely knows how to get the goals scored. We'll see the abilities being burned to get past the now primary. Bells just dribbling. Has this recovery drone still alive and still a threat. As Fiery aiming now for Vaughn.
Yeah, and they're playing away around this dash punch that's just so scary. It never even comes out. Bells finds the checkmate right there with a flame flurry of all things. And 1 point away, PPL, an incredibly good performance, but they're going to have to perform better than ever now. Their backs against the wall here in the series.
Oh, absolutely. Maloom with no energy, too far away from this core flip. Something to note here, the energy economy not looking too great. Average Alex, the closest one on the team to the flip, which makes the defense that much harder. Here we see all 3 players in this bottom corner. There's the first and there's the second. Both barriers fall for PPL. And Hungry Like Nephew just has to find the open net, and that's it. That is all she wrote as Hungry Like Nephew closes out game number 3 and will secure this series, the first win of season 6.
Yeah, GG's all around. Welcome to the North American Strikers League, PPL. It's been a long journey, but you've still got a mountain to climb. Hungry Like Nephew in their technical debut game as well. Take the win here. Week number 1. Look at over at those stats. I think this is a 7+1 from Bells. I think an absolutely great performance. Getting through what is, you know, still an Atlas, a nerfed Atlas, sure, but still an Atlas nonetheless. The full might of PPL did come out. I think a lot less KOs as in the previous games were threatened on a Fiery, but even then PPL got their win condition and they weren't able to convert, which is fair, right? This is the North American Strikers League. It's hard. It is really hard to have the weight of the world put on you like that, and sometimes it does not work out. But hey, a 1-1 performance against one of the most storied, if not the most storied, Omega Strikers team to ever exist is, or sorry, yeah, 1 win off of them is an absolutely fine way to start your regular season. If PPL could do that against this team, they're still a force to contend with and look out for coming into the future 8 weeks of the North American Strikers League regular season. So they've still got a long journey ahead of them and plenty of opportunities to surprise us, which they already have a bit. So we're going to be back though with some more Omega Strikers very, very soon. Tag, any parting thoughts on the series?
Yeah, an amazing series, very exciting to watch. Of course, shout out to Hungry Like Nephew. I love the "Where's my hug at" spam in the chat after after game number 3 finished there, and a great showing from PP Legends coming into NASL. So we do have a very special video coming up, so stay tuned. We're gonna hop right into this, and we'll see you soon.